So who doesn't love a simple roast chicken? Today I'm going to be preparing a chicken with morel mushrooms in a mustard and tarragon sauce. And the first thing we need to do is preheat the oven to 425 degrees. And you want to make sure you get it good and hot before you throw your chicken in there. So once you've done that, we're going to take our chicken and we're going to stuff it with half of a lemon. And the lemon just gives it this nice, beautiful acidity, and it also cuts the fattiness of the chicken. And then we're going to stuff it with herbs. I have some thyme, some fresh tarragon, a little bit of rosemary that I pulled out of my garden this morning. So we're just going to shove that right in there. And then you just want to make sure to salt the chicken quite a bit, especially around the cavity here, because this is the fattier parts. And it's kind of like a potato chip. You really love salty and fatty flavors. I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of herbes de Provence. You want to make sure we season both sides of the chicken here. Alrighty, and then we're going to put a little bit of fresh black pepper on there. And let me just flip it over here real quick. Alrighty. Alright, so now you got it nice and seasoned. You got the lemon in there, the fresh herbs. We're also going to put in there half of a head of garlic. So you just want to just cut a whole head in half and don't worry about if it's falling apart, doesn't really matter. Now that we have the chicken stuffed with the herbs, the lemon, the garlic, we've seasoned the chicken, we're going to put it on a cookie sheet with a wire rack. And we do this because we want the air to circulate all around the chicken while we roast it. And we're going to cook it first 40 minutes with its breast side down. So here we go. And then we're just going to pop it in our oven for 40 minutes. So now that the chicken's cooked for 40 minutes, it's time to flip it. So look, now it's really beautiful golden brown on the top. And we're just going to spin the chicken around here. And just take a pair of tongs and just flip it like that. And now you want to put it back into the oven and let it cook the last 40 minutes. Okay, so now our chicken's cooked for the second 40-minute period, and it's all set to pull out of the oven. So look at this chicken. It's really beautiful, golden brown. It's fully cooked. And now the last step, and this is very important in chicken, is you want to let it rest, and that's going to let all the juices recirculate back into the meat. I like to kind of just stand it right up like that. And then I usually put something behind it to hold it up. And we're just going to let it sit like this for 20 minutes. And you're going to have the most incredible, mouth-watering, juicy chicken you've ever eaten in your whole life. Okay, so now your chicken has rested for the last 20 minutes. The juices have recirculated back into the breast. And we're just going to break this down real quick. And one thing I'd like to point out too, you don't have to roast a chicken for this dish. You know, a lot of grocery stores have awesome rotisserie chickens that they sell right in the store. That's perfectly fine, saves you a little bit of time. But I'm just going to pull the wings off here and just cut through the bone, cut the wing tips off, cutting the joint of the wings. We'll just set them up right here. Next, we're going to take the legs off. And I'm just cutting in between the leg, the thigh, and then just pop this off. And see all that juice coming out? That's beautiful. So now we're just going to cut the leg and the thigh separately. Arrange them here on our platter. Same thing with the other side. We'll just pull it apart. And then cut through the leg and the thigh. I like to keep the skin on. It's just nice and crunchy, delicious. So now the next part we're going to do is just cut the breast off. And if you take your finger, you can feel what's called the keel bone. And it's kind of like a little ridge in the center of the two breasts. And just cut down along the side of it real quick. And then you're just going to cut through the wing bone. And with my family, I like to take the chicken breast and just slice it up, make it really easy for everybody. So you don't have to fight over who gets the white meat and dark meat. We'll just put that right on the platter, and let's take the last breast off. Now that we've cut the chicken, let's make the sauce. After you roast the chicken, you want to save the pan you roasted it on. I usually pour off a little bit of the fat, And then I'm gonna take just a little bit of water and pour it in the pan, and then let's get the burners on. There's so much great flavor. These brown parts right here that are kind of sticky, the French call that the chicken sugar. And there's so much flavor in there. So I'm gonna take this sheet pan, we've poured the water in there, and we're just gonna pour it through a little strainer. And you just wanna bring it up to a nice boil. You hear it kind of bubbling and popping and sizzling. We're just gonna add a little spoonful of Dijon mustard in there. We're gonna add a little bit of chopped tarragon, about a tablespoon or so, maybe a little bit less. And then just a little touch of heavy cream, just to give it that kind of nice creaminess. And we're just gonna stir this all together. We're gonna add a pinch of salt just to give it a little bit of flavor. I like to add just a little squeeze of lemon juice. You know, not really enough so you taste it, but it kind of makes the dish a little bit feel better on your tongue, and it gives it a little bit more complexity. Now the final part of the sauce, we're gonna add our morel mushrooms. And I just used this simple sauteed morel mushroom recipe that's also featured on our website, Cook FIS. So now our sauce is done and it's perfect. We're gonna pour it right over our roast chicken. And now you're ready to eat a great meal.